really cool point. He points out that the NBA will not partner with the big three like the NFL recently partnered with the XFL. What that means and why it should happen as soon as possible, right after the bumper. Be sure to stay tuned. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here at the Black Boss channel on Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Ice Cube is talking. He is talking about the Big Three. The Big Three is coming back for its 5th season this upcoming summer, and the Big Three and Cube is taking notice of what's taking place with the football world, with the XFL and NFL. Recently, the XFL and the NFL, they announced that they have partnered on an agreement that will see the two working together, the two partnerships. They'll have similar sponsors, corporate money, all that stuff. And there'll be some rules, like some rule changes or whatever they'll test out over there at the XFL. And if it works well with the XFL, they'll implement it and try it out with the NFL, things like that. Well, Ice Cube did an interview with the Boardroom, Kevin Durant's platform, and talked about how, hey, the Big Three's been trying to do this with the NBA, and the NBA's not been showing any love. Let me go ahead because I was reading this. Let me scroll all the way up. It says Cube's dreams of his biggest collaboration ever. As you see, Ice Cube, it says, as Ice Cube prepares for the Big Three's 5th season that will once again be powered by Monster Energy, he and the league are looking for a different kind of signature partnership, one with the NBA, which only makes sense. On the heels of the XFL and the NFL announcing a formal collaboration, the rapper, actor, and entrepreneur born O'Shea Jackson called a shot of his own. It says, quote, this is after they announced the NFL XFL partnership. This is great for the XFL. The Big Three has been trying to work with the NBA for years with no luck. Many NBA owners would love to invest in the Big Three, but the NBA views us as a competitive league and not a complementary league. Really? I see a lot of the Big Three innovations in the NBA. So Cube said a lot right here. Let me point out a lot what he said right here. One, a lot of people don't know that if you are an NBA owner, there's certain things you can't invest in. There's other sports leagues you really can't invest in. Not only if you're an NBA owner, but also if like it gets really sticky. It gets really weird. But like if you're an NBA owner or an NBA investor or whatever, it's really hard to invest in other sports leagues as far as like basketball, right? And so Kevin, and in this article points out Kevin Garnett, who was trying to invest in a soccer club, kind of got blocked by the NBA at that time from being able to invest in that. Now we know LeBron James and others have invested in soccer clubs and stuff. So I think the rules have loosened up a little bit in that regard. But NBA owners, if they wanted to help out Cube and invest in a Big Three team or become an owner of a Big Three team or whatever, they couldn't. And that is strange. Even though you can own an NBA team and an NFL team simultaneously, other leagues, especially basketball leagues, not really. Another thing Cube points out in this piece is he says, well, just in this one tweet, the innovations that we've seen from the Big Three has translated over to the NBA. One of the things that stuck out, as soon as I read that, the thing that stuck out to me the most was the 4-point shot that we saw in the celebrity game. The Ruffles 4-point shot. Let me see. Ruffles 4-point shot. Okay, so yeah. Let's see. They put it in NBA 2K and they had it in the NBA. They had it in the NBA celebrity game. The 4-point shot came from the Big Three. The Big Three 5 years ago, or 5-6 years ago, whatever, had said, yo, we're coming up with this 4-point shot. And now the 2K, which we know works directly with the NBA, created a what? A 4-point shot. NBA 2K2 Ruffles 4-point Ridge tournament seasonal event. So they put in a 4-point shot 5 years after Cube in the Big Three. So let's make sure we point that out. That is one thing that he talked about that I noticed as soon as I read that. So that is something that is a real deal. And another thing that Cube mentions in this article, he also says that the NBA has made it difficult for investors to invest in the big three. It says the boardroom spoke to the legendary MC, the tail between the tweet and the vision. It says, quote, our business model was for us to use former NBA players, and we felt like that would spark interest in the league in some way and give the league instant credibility. Cube told us in a phone interview, quote, in doing that, we initially went to the NBA and offered them a percentage of the big three. And they said, thank you, but no thank you. We never thought this would stop what we were doing. It would be nice, but we believe in the sport. So the thing about the big three that makes it unique as compared to any other style of minor league or whatever that you want to call them is that the big three actually uses former NBA players. So Joe Johnson was in the big three. He played in the NBA. Nate Robinson, and then we've actually seen, especially during the time of COVID, former big three guys who were former NBA guys make it back to an NBA roster. Joe Johnson went back and played some NBA games because of COVID and because he showed he could still hoop during the big three. So that is also something to take note, because the Pistons or whoever he ended up signing to was like, yo, he's still ISO Joe over there in the big three. He's still over there winning big three championships and being the best player in that league. He can still come at 40 years old, can still come and contribute to what we're doing here. So that is also a thing. And it naturally makes sense for the NBA to partner with a group that has a bunch of former NBA players. Like, doesn't that make sense? I think it only makes sense to me. I don't know. But let's continue to read. It says, in an argument against Cube's dream partnership, the big three is too small and lacks traction with the fans. He's not hearing it. He's got numbers to point to. After canceling the 2020 season due to COVID, the Big Three's 2021 season saw it reach new heights. The 10-week campaign averaged 450,000 viewers across 22 hours of CBS. The 450,001 viewers mark is higher than Major League Soccer's own average, which was reported at 276 viewers across 31 regular season games in 2021. As its championship game peak, the MLS Finals slightly beat out the Big Three at 1.6 million viewers, and the Big Three had 1.47. So the Big Three is thriving. It's getting, over 400,000 viewers a game, over 400,000 viewers a week, like that. So that's pretty good numbers for any corporate sponsor. And this is really with all promotion by Cube and his team. This is not, like I said, no collaboration with the NBA, no collaboration with billionaires, at least not that I know of. You got the CBS backing, but you're watching most of these Big Three games on Fight TV. You know what I mean? So it's not like you can cut on ESPN or cut on ABC, NBC, CBS, regular, and watch Big Three games. You can watch most of them on Fight TV, and you're still getting over 400,000 people. I was part of that 400,000, 500,000 people. So the Big Three is good business, big business on top of that. It says, meanwhile, Cube will be among the first, and of the Big Three is not looking for a lifeline to keep them afloat. Quote, it's not really like we're dying to merge. We just want to make sure we are complementary, which would make sense, especially for some of those former NBA players who feel like they should still be in the NBA. Maybe not so much the guys like Joe Johnson, who's 40, but if you're 28 and you play in the Big Three, which there's some 20-somethings in the Big Three, mainly 30-somethings, but 20-somethings, and feel like you still deserve a shot in the league, the Big Three is perfect for you, and the Big Three will be perfect for the NBA. Now, some folks will say, well, the NBA's got a G League. They don't need a minor league system because they got a G League, and why would they want a minor league system with old dudes? I get that. They do have the G League. But come on now. Let's come on. Can we be real? Can we be real about the G League? Nobody's checking for the G League. Nobody watches G League games. I can I'll guarantee there is not 500,000 people a week watching G League games. Hell, I can't even tell you where to watch G League games. And the only G League team worth watching is the G League Unite team, which is the kids who don't go to college, who decide to skip out on college and do the 1 year in the G League before they get drafted. So the team that had the Jalen Greens and those guys, Kamungas and guys like that last year, I don't even know who's on the team this year. I think Jalen Hardy is a kid on there, but nobody's watching G League games. 500,000 people a week is watching the Big Three games. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. And the biggest takeaway from this whole article, as I said earlier, let me see, been supportive. It said NBA spokesperson. Let's see. Even as the leagues not partner, Big Three set the roadblocks in the way the Big Three working with the NBA owners and the NBA sponsors have to stop. Now that's big because now you're messing with folks' money. If the NBA is taking away from the Big Three sponsors, that ain't cool. That is whack. It says, let me see. Quote, if they don't have to work with us, that's fine. But we can't have anybody blocking our progress. So if they do have a bylaw saying that some other people cannot invest in us, or they're telling sponsors to stay away from us because we're not part of the NBA, that has to stop. We have to figure out a way to get around that, even if we're never going to work together. See, that's the problem that I have. Because I know a lot of us, especially if you're watching this video, a lot of us talk about starting our own sports leagues, doing that kind of stuff. And Cube has done that. Cube, his team over at the Big Three have done it, and they've been successful for it for half a decade now. But if you messing with their money, that ain't cool. That is not cool. If you're the big bully and the big dog, and if you're telling sponsors like, yo, you can't invest in us and invest in them, that is a problem. Because that's clearly not what the NFL is doing with the XFL. That's clearly, when you read a headline like this, sponsorships aren't being blocked. The Rock's XFL agrees to a deal with the NFL to innovate the game, test rule changes for safety. So when you read stuff like that, a partnership, they're not blocking the money from the XFL because any money that is made by the XFL is also money made by the NFL. So even if you don't want to partner with Cube in the Big Three, blocking sponsorships is not cool. You're stealing food off that man's table. And that, if that is the case, sounds like another form of what do we call that? It sounds like white supremacy. It sounds like people are trying to be bullies. It sounds like you're trying to stop another black man from achieving what he could possibly be able to achieve with the Big Three. I get it. You don't want to partner. That's cool. That's not smart, I don't think, but that's cool. You have the right to do what you want to do. But to tell possibly or to be blocking sponsorships or telling sponsors that if they partner with the Big Three that they won't get the most out of the NBA, that's whack. That's just whack. It says the Big Three co-founder. Now, this is all why I said allegedly, because he goes on to say the Big Three co-founder said he doesn't have any proof that the NBA is, say, blocking its broadcast partners or official sponsorship partners from working with the Big Three, but frustrations remain. Quote, we know how people act when they are in business with the NBA. So if they feel like they can't do business with both, that's not true, and it's a shame. So Cube isn't accusing the NBA of blocking their partnerships. He's just saying that could possibly be a thing. You get what I'm saying? Wink, wink. That could possibly be a thing. It says earlier versions of this conversation have played out once before. Nearly 10 years ago, Kevin Garnett tried to purchase a minority stake in Italian soccer club AS Roma, but the NBA blocked his purchase. This was due to James Palto, a minority owner of the Boston Celtics, being a principal investor in Roma at the time. As fine print required, Garnett could only purchase equity in a sporting organization that included no existing stakeholder involved with the NBA. So, I mean, this is I don't know. That's interesting to me, man. That's interesting that if you're a part of the NBA, you can't be a stakeholder in other sports leagues. I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That is very, very much weird. Very, very much interesting. Let's see. The bylaws aren't likely to be subject to radical reinterpretations anytime soon, but Cube notably doesn't view the association as a rival at all, which they aren't rivals. He has former players. They have current players. He's played during the summer. Their season ends in June. He is 3-on-3. There's obviously 5-on-5. It's similar because it's basketball, and it's similar because there's former players, but there aren't rivals. They're not competing for the same demographic, for the same audience during the same time. None of that stuff. Why wouldn't you want to partner with this league that is filled with your former players? If you care so much about your players, like you say, why wouldn't you go and help out? Why wouldn't you go be a part of that? Why wouldn't Commissioner Adam Silver show up to a Big Three game? Why wouldn't current players especially because the big three plays in all the major NBA cities: Charlotte, Cleveland, Texas, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, LA, New York. They play in all of these cities. I mean, not last year because of COVID, but you get what I'm saying? Like, they play in all of these cities. Why wouldn't NBA players show up to the games and support and rock some of the stuff and tweet out some of the games and the scores and the veterans that they may have played with? It all makes too much sense to not be taking place. By no means are we able to compete with the NBA. They're on their 75th year and we're on our 5th year. We're doing 3-on-3. They're doing 5-on-5. We're not competing in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Absolutely. I'm right there with you, Cube. It makes no sense. It makes no sense why the NBA wouldn't partner with the big three. Like, it's so simple and it's so logical that it took for the XFL and the NFL to partner for us to really sit back, at least for me, to be like, yo, why hasn't the big three in the NBA partnered? Why haven't they gotten together to make something happen? Why hasn't Adam Silver showed up to a big three game? Or why aren't NBA owners able to buy in and invest or whatever into the big three? Like, none of that makes sense. So shout out to Cube, man, for calling this out. Shout out to Cube for doing this article with the boardroom, because none of it makes sense. They're not direct competitors. They're actually one and the same, but they're completely two different forms. All they are is just basketball. But they have a ton of former NBA guys that play on this stage that have these connections to not only the league, but to the cities that they played in, to the owners of the NBA teams, to everything with the NBA. Why wouldn't you want to help them out? And why wouldn't you want to help them out in the next? If you care so much about your players, why wouldn't you want to help them out in the next stage of their career, which is the big three? That's my thoughts on it, man. It just makes no sense to me. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr at the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Thank you, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the Black Boss channel at Black Boss channel. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.